From the first stone pattern of a Neanderthal to the gleaming silver of the time of Alexander the Great, caves are like jewelry boxes packed with wonders. Today, on the TopFacts BLACK channel, we will descend to places where water quietly drips and the past whispers in the darkness. Forgotten, Maya rituals, mysterious creatures and treasures that still smell of smoke from ancient campfires await us. Make yourselves comfortable and stay until the end. It is in the final moments that the most thrilling secret of the underground world is revealed. Why do video game designers love to hide valuables and secrets specifically in subterranean grottos? Because in reality, the most astonishing discoveries truly occur in caves. It is dark, damp, abandoned, and thus easy to overlook a treasure. And so our hero, who in the original tale is named Bennett, went out for a walk along a forest path on an ordinary day. Fate seemed to lead him to a blocked entrance where there gaped an almost imperceptible hole. Curiosity prevailed. He squeezed inside and after 20 long minutes of wandering through corridors, reached a spacious chamber. There on the ground lay irregularly shaped stones, as if hewn by an unknown craftsman. Bennett maintains that they seem to him like magnets for hidden energy, but there is no direct evidence. In this account, some soldiers allegedly stumbled upon the wreckage of an unidentified flying object in an adjacent cavity, a hull, a cockpit, metallic veins like in a cheap sci-fi movie. Skeptics immediately pointed out that the plating is far too plastic and the dimensions unconvincing. Most likely, we are dealing with abandoned film props. Yet in the comments, there were people swearing that the spacecraft is genuine and that the passengers vanished somewhere. Who is right? Decide for yourselves, and do not forget to mark your opinion with the hashtag #SweetTopic. Let us transport ourselves to the Judean desert, to a grotto that archaeologists have dubbed the Cave of Terror. The name was not coined for dramatic effect. As early as the 60s of the last century, around 40 human skeletons were discovered there. People had taken refuge from Roman soldiers during the Bar Kokhba revolt, but were trapped and died of starvation. Alongside the bones, researchers unearthed several charred torches, leather sandals, and a crumbled scroll that had lain buried for almost 2,000 years. The cool, dry microclimate is highly conducive to manuscripts. The text has been preserved so well that modern experts have been able to decipher new passages of the prophet Zechariah. Each fragment found is like a bridge connecting us to the people who fought for freedom and perished in the darkness of that cave. Deoxyribonucleic acid has long turned old archaeological detective stories into a wonderland. In the summer of 1979, a family searching for arrowheads in Buffalo Cave near the town of Dubois, Idaho, stumbled upon a canvas sack. Inside lay a human torso without a head and no other clues. The investigation quickly reached a dead end. 13 years later, a schoolgirl examining the same site discovered a mummified hand. Then a leg, a shoulder, and another scrap of fabric were found. Anthropologists determined that it was a man of around 40 years of age, of European descent, with red hair. The case was then taken up by genetic students from the University of Idaho, later joined by experts from the Smithsonian Institution and the Federal Bureau of Investigation. By cross-referencing newspaper articles, tombstones, and church archives, they traced the lineage of the fugitive murderer named Joseph Henry Loveless. He had escaped from the Idaho Falls prison in 1916 and vanished. Most likely, local residents exacted revenge on the fugitive, dismembered the body, and hid the parts in various niches of the cave. Exactly who carried out the vengeance remains a question to which even the most advanced genealogical database has no answer as of yet. Now let us move to the coast of Lazio, not far from Rome. There, paleontologists unearthed beneath a collapse of several tons of limestone a gruesome burial, the bones of 9 Neanderthals. The oldest lived approximately between 90 and 100,000 years ago, and the others in the range from 50 to 68,000. The bones show clear marks of cave hyena teeth. The predators hunted the weak, the sick, the elderly, possibly a child. Among the remains, there are the bones of a young boy. The hyenas dragged their prey to their lair. Their own skeletons lie here, too. And nearby are the horns of an ancient rhinoceros, the jaw of a giant deer, and the skull of a wild horse. All of this was sealed for tens of thousands of years by the fall of the ceiling, likely caused by an earthquake, and has been preserved as a time capsule. In central France, in a deep river valley, a grotto was discovered containing astonishing flutings, patterns scratched by fingers into soft clay. Parallel lines, zigzags, spots. The design resembles a strange cipher. Geologists removed thin layers of sediment, sampled uranium and thorium, and determined the age to be approximately 57,000 years. The authorship is equally impressive. The patterns were made by Neanderthals, as confirmed by the characteristic size and spacing of the grooves. What did these lines mean? A sign of clan affiliation? A hunting map or pure art? It remains a mystery, but the fact is clear. Long before the appearance of modern humans, our neighbors on this planet were decorating walls and expressing thoughts through abstract symbols. We return once more to the Judean desert, where the Israel Antiquities Authority is conducting a long-term project to explore the coastal caves near the Dead Sea. In one of the crevices, archaeologists retrieved from Nietzsche's 4 perfectly preserved swords from the period of Roman rule, the era of the revolt against the empire that occurred almost 2,000 years ago. The metallic blades are virtually untouched by corrosion, and most remarkable of all is that each still has its wooden hilt bound in leather and even the scabbards. The dry drafts and stable coolness inside the grotto created the perfect preservation environment. Once, perhaps, the rebels hid the weapons intending to return for them later, but they never did. Now the swords have joined a museum collection and promise to reveal new details of the tactics of ancient warriors. In the vast ocean of online sensations, videos occasionally surface containing fewer facts than there is water in a desert. It is precisely such an artifact that is being offered to us. An unknown author supposedly ventured into some cave somewhere on the planet and found a treasure chest. There is no country, no coordinates, not even the name of the nearest village, only grandiose phrases about unseen gold and cursed protective runes. The text accompanying the video is so densely laden with cliches that it feels as if a soulless program drafted it from start to finish. Not one image with a date and geolocation, no references to archaeologists, no expert metallurgical analyses. As a result, what we have before us is not a story, but an empty vessel adorned with loud words. Yet the myth-making mechanism still works. Thousands of viewers argue about exactly where the non-existent treasure is buried, while real-life scientists shake their heads in frustration. We descend into the deep karst labyrinths of southern Slovenia, where a creature akin to a mythical undead dwells. Locals call it the cave dragon, while scientists refer to it as the Proteus. It is a fully aquatic salamander, devoid of pigment, with translucent skin and underdeveloped eyes. It never leaves the underground lakes. It eats, sleeps, and reproduces where eternal night reigns. The Proteus's range is astonishingly small, a network of limestone caves beneath southern Slovenia, northwestern Italy, southwestern Croatia, and Bosnia and Herzegovina. Its body is adapted to extremes. Sight has faded, but smell and hearing have sharpened. Its metabolism has slowed so much that it can survive without food for more than a year. From a distance, its pale pink skin and serpent-like body give the Proteus the appearance of a fairy tale dragon hatchling. Not for nothing do guides jokingly invite visitors to look at living dragon babies. Yet scientists caution that it is a living relic that would perish if surface pollution were to seep into its fragile ecosystem. Let us move to the Philippines. In the year 2007, a minuscule foot bone was discovered in a limestone cavity of Mount Calio. Radiocarbon analysis revealed it to be 67,000 years old. Expeditions in the years 2011 and 2015 yielded another dozen fragments, finger bones, teeth, and part of a femur. Piecing together the puzzle, anthropologists realized that this was neither Homo sapiens nor Homo floresiensis, but something else entirely. The teeth proved to be small and unusually simple, and the shape of the jaw differed sharply from all known variants. The new species was named Homo luzonensis, after the island of Luzon. But whence these people came and how they reached the remote archipelago remains a mystery. Were they direct descendants of earlier populations or maritime settlers lost at sea? Every detail, tooth enamel, a tiny fragment of a wrist bone, yields more questions than answers. The underwater lake in the limestone sinkhole of Tampataka in Madagascar proved to be a true treasury of extinct giants. Cave diving speleologists, illuminating the milky suspension of the water with their flashlights, observed on the bottom hundreds of large bones. These were the remains of giant lemurs the size of an adult gorilla. Nearby lay the vertebrae of the flightless elephant bird, a colossal relative of modern ostriches, as well as the skulls of dwarf hippopotamuses long extinct on the island. There is as yet no single explanation for why different species deposited their bones exactly here. There are no signs of predator tooth marks, no broken joints. Perhaps floods washed the remains into the sinkhole over centuries, layer by layer forming a quiet memorial to lost fauna. But there is also a more poetic version. The animals may have come to the water during the dry season and perished after slipping from the sheer walls. In any case, the lake chamber beneath the ceiling of stalactites became a museum of a submerged prehistoric ecosystem. In the scorching heart of Mexico, a tiny passage leads down to the underground network of Balancu, the Jaguar God Cave. It was discovered as early as 1966, but deemed too dangerous to traverse, was simply sealed. Half a century later, archaeologists returned and were amazed. Within the clay-filled chambers rested 150 ceramic vessels, incense burners, sacrificial bowls, vases covered in soot and mercury. Every object was carefully arranged as if part of a sacred theater. Vapors of cinnabar, symbolizing blood, still coat the walls with a crimson residue. The Maya regarded such caves as gates to Xibalba, the underworld of gods and ancestors. Researchers must advance lying on their stomachs, sometimes literally crawling over living rock to avoid disturbing the layered structure of artifacts. Three-dimensional scanning lasers record every millimeter, turning the work into an enthralling quest between the worlds of the dead and the living. We head to Vietnam, to Sun Dong Cave, recognized as the largest on the planet. Its ceiling is so high that an entire urban high-rise could easily fit inside. Two sinkholes in the ceiling form valley-like windows, where sunlight has fostered a full-fledged tropical forest. Ancient ferns, slender vines, and sparkling streams, all flourishing underground. Since the passage was opened to tourists, this location has been regularly reported to host a strange creature, elongated, scaly, part lizard, part relict cryptid. Amateur footage shows only blurry silhouettes. Skeptics attribute this to optical illusions caused by headlamps and fog. Yet the legend grows. Some claim it is a descendant of Cretaceous marine reptiles. Others speak of an unknown species of giant salamander. And until a single scientist presents convincing proof, the mysterious tale fuels excitement, drawing ever new bands of wonder seekers. Winter of 2016 in the Catskill Mountains, United States of America. Two friends wander along the slopes and discover a fissure hiding a tiny stone chamber. Inside is a wooden figure bound with rusty nails, a noose woven into a cord tightened around its neck, and the eye sockets plugged with iron caps. One of the friends hauls the trophy home, And from that moment, a series of nightmarish events begins. The sound of barefoot footsteps, the sticky smell of marsh mud, wet footprints leading from nowhere. They turn to an occultist who unties the cord and declares that the statue allegedly served as a knot to bind the spirit of a deceased witch. Skeptics criticize the story. There are no names, no dates, and photographs can be easily forged. But the forum thread explodes like an avalanche, each participant adding a new detail. Someone saw a similar figure in Louisiana. Someone heard a forester's tale of a drowned woman. And the more vigorously debunkers challenge it, the more robust the legend becomes, as if the horror tale feeds on the very attention it receives. We move to the state of Georgia, to the desert-like hills of the Appalachians. Ellison's Cave is famous for the vertical shaft known as Fantastic Pit, almost 600 feet of sheer drop, higher than the Statue of Liberty, including its pedestal. Cavers joke that one could fall longer than it takes to read this sentence. Adrenaline seekers descend by ropes as the faint light at the entrance fades and find themselves in a cavernous black hall where echoes mirror every breath. At the bottom are heaps of boulders grown from endless collapses. According to legend, a solitary geologist who plunged to his death in the 19th century still wanders in shadow in the tunnel. Sometimes tourists hear the distant clink of a pickaxe. There is no scientific confirmation, but every rustle rattles the nerves when the abyss hanging beneath your feet seems to open its mouth and call you by name. Kenya, the Rift Valley Lakes region. Panga Yasaidi Cave appears externally as a modest shelter, but inside it conceals 12 successive cultural horizons. The lower layers are 78,000 years old, the upper ones just a few hundred. Scientists extracted hundreds of stone tools. The earlier ones were large chopping tools, and the later ones miniature microliths showcasing a technological revolution. Adornment also evolved. The oldest beads were made from shells drilled through, followed by ostrich eggshell beads painted with ochre, and 33,000 years ago, the fashion shifted to beads of red siderite. All of this attests to an unbroken human history. Groups came and went, leaving layers of hearths, chipped stones, and kitchen refuse. Panga Yasaidi became like a bookshelf where each page represents a new generation of our direct ancestors. The culmination takes us to Italy in the Apulia region, to the karst sinkhole of La Malonga. In the year 1993, speleologists discovered a skeleton literally grown into calcite concretions. The two connected domes formed a stone sarcophagus, elbows pressed to the chest, skull tilted as if the ancient inhabitant died in his sleep. Analysis of the rock layers indicated an age ranging from 128 to 187,000 years. For many years, the bones could not be removed without damage. Only recently did a laser microdrill manage to remove the thinnest layer, and scientists obtained a sample of deoxyribonucleic acid, the oldest ever extracted from a Neanderthal. The genetic code was matched with data from Croatia and Spain, and now researchers are attempting to reconstruct population migrations to understand how the glacial period climate painted Europe with genetic spots. It is possible that here passes the boundary between lineages, one of which later merged into Homo sapiens, gifting us part of our immunity to ancient viruses. Here is the full list of mysteries hidden beneath the vaults of the Earth's underground realms. Which of these stories struck you most profoundly? Do you believe in the wings of mystery above Sonjoong? Or do you rather cling to the facts of Panga Yasaidi? Or perhaps you have descended into the darkness yourself and uncovered something extraordinary. Share your experiences in the comments and reveal your own discoveries. And do not forget, if you watched until the end, leave the code word ROCKET to let the world know. You have conquered the entire abyss down to the last echoing tunnel.